All right, now our correspondent Siddhant Sibul is on the ground tracking the latest on the mood of the Americans after Donald Trump clinched the race to the White House. Let's listen into some of the voters he has been speaking to.
You know, I'm not totally up on all of his policies, but I'm going by his track record from the last time. And he was pretty good with the last time with the country, so that's what I'm going with.
And essentially, when it comes to Kamala Harris, what's your views about her? I mean, she lost, but...
Not very positive, you know, so...
Yeah. And why so, ma'am?
I don't like the way her and Biden had taken care of the last 4 years, so, you know, I don't trust their track record.
Trump has won the elections. I'm not going to lie, I am a little shocked. Because the media was quite saturated with a lot of pro-Kamala Walz administration, and you can tell that there's a lot of secret Trump supporters in our country, and I'm trying to remain hopeful for the future. I'm hoping that this administration will, this time that the administration's in office, or to not come out right, but this time around, that there will be more unity within our country, less division.
Honestly, I don't know. I think that's part of what I'm still trying to process. I'm hoping that it'll be a little different than the last time. I'm hoping that instead of leading to more division, that we can hopefully have some more unity within our country in the next 4 years. I'm a little nervous if he's going to be able to add to that or achieve that.
I think we were ready for the change, and the American public indicated that something should happen. So in addition to Trump winning, you see a lot of other winnings for the Republican Party, and it's really a landslide of sorts. So I think it's time to embrace that change. One of the things I think that is excellent about the opportunity ahead is to be bipartisan and to look at ways that the two parties can collaborate, have a smooth transition, and move on to making things stronger for all Americans.
I'm very disappointed. I volunteered for Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania. I knocked doors for her. I'm disappointed in how the American people voted. I'm disappointed in the media.
I think Trump winning election is good for the America, as he promised that make America great again. So we are hopeful that he will bring the economy up from where we are. I mean, it's anyway right now it's not that bad, but he's gonna make it great again. So it will create more jobs for Americans. Hopefully ease the inflation down. So it will be a win-win situation for American people.
America has turned red, and we're not just talking about the presidential race. Republicans have swept the mandate in the Senate as well. To remind our viewers, this has been a triple election in the United States. Voters have cast their ballot to pick the 47th president, 1/3 of the senators, and all lawmakers in the House of Representatives. In the U.S. Senate, Republicans have crossed the halfway mark, winning 52 out of total of 100 seats. The Democrats have 42 seats, and their kitty right now in 6 seats are yet to be called. Moving on to the lower chamber, the race is very close for the House of Representatives. Out of the 435 seats, Republicans so far have secured 198 seats. Democrats are at 180 and 57 seats are yet to be called. Until now, it was the Democrats who controlled the Senate with the support of 4 independents, while Republicans had the control of House of Representatives. However, it remains to be seen which way that goes. Scenario 1 says that if Democrats win the lower chamber, this will be the first time in more than 230 years of U.S. congressional elections that both chambers of Congress will have changed majority control in the opposite direction. Scenario 2, if Republicans cross the halfway mark, then the red camp will be in control of the White House and at Capitol Hill. A completely red mandate can potentially have massive implications for American policy, especially on the sweeping changes that Trump aims to implement for immigration, border security, and economic reforms. It will be easier for the declared presidential winner, that's Donald Trump, to get bills passed in the Congress. Whether that happens or not is something we'll have to wait and watch. And to get us some perspective, we are now being joined by Professor Henry A. Brady, Distinguished Professor of Political Science and Public Policy at the University of California, Berkeley. Professor, thank you so much for joining us here on this broadcast.
Great to be here.
You know, just moments back, Associated Press called the race in Michigan, and expectedly it has gone to the red camp. Donald Trump has won another battleground state. That makes it 5 out of 7. I was just speaking to my correspondent who said at this point it's a landslide. I want to ask you, this was a race that went down to the wire. I have lost count of the times I've said that it's a neck-and-neck race. But from a neck-and-neck race, we go to a landslide. How did this happen?
Well, I wouldn't call it exactly a landslide, although it maybe is a landslide by current definition, given how hard it is to have a true landslide like Ronald Reagan had, for example, in 1980. But it is certainly a surprise, and it's much more of a Republican win than anybody expected, especially since it looks like they'll probably eventually take the House as well as the Senate and have what we call undivided control of government, which will give them the power to do a lot of things that they otherwise couldn't have done. And that's going to make a big difference in America and probably in the world. And it's going to be a tumultuous, difficult period in America and in the world.
You know, Donald Trump used a term that caught my eye during his victory speech. He called his win historic realignment. And what he was referring to is that blacks, Asians, Hispanics, all of them have, in a way, come through for Donald Trump this time, especially the men voters. What do you make of that?
Well, what's really been going on for a while now is there's been a realignment in the sense that the Republican Party, which traditionally was the party of the upper class and the rich, has increasingly become the party of the working class as well, while the Democrats, that used to be the party of the working class, have lost working class voters. And now that's seeped into not just white voters, but also Hispanic and black voters of the working class. And that's a surprise to Democrats, but it also means that Trump is probably right. This is a historic shift if it continues.
Also, I know a lot of post-mortem of this election result is needed, and we will continue to do it. But I want to put you on the spot and ask you, at what point do you think Kamala Harris lost this election?
I think she probably was disadvantaged from the very beginning. The Democratic Party made a mistake in allowing Biden to go forward in January, and his advisors should have advised him to drop out of the race so that there could have been a primary season, which would have chosen the best possible Democratic candidate and also given a chance for that candidate to be exposed to Americans. So when Kamala Harris finally got into the race after the disastrous debate performance of Joe Biden, she didn't have much time to introduce herself to Americans or to actually run a campaign. So I think the answer is almost from the beginning she was handicapped.
Also, before I let you go, Donald Trump has promised a quote-unquote golden era in the United States. What do you think he has in mind?
I think it's going to be difficult to have a golden era given the policies he's proposing. Certainly, there's no question but that he and actually many of his followers agree that the changes they want to make are going to cause pain to begin with. That's certainly going to be true with respect to tariffs. That's going to be true with respect to deporting people who are already here but are undocumented to other countries. And it's going to be true with respect to a lot of other policies. So that in the short run, at least, he's promised pain, and my suspicion is we'll get pain. And it's not even clear that after the pain, his policies will be successful. After all, The Economist recently called the current American economy under Biden the envy of the world. So it's hard to know how Donald Trump's going to do better than what Joe Biden did.
Professor, just one last question. I apologize. Do you think in this election America was ready for a female president?
I think it continues to be the case that there's a lot of misogyny out there, and this election certainly showed that, coming from the Trump camp and more generally, and a lot of problems for a female candidate for president, and we saw that again, and that's disappointing.
All right, Professor Brady, thank you so much for joining us here on WION. Good to speak to you.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.